Hello future tech leaders, I'm Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
So today we need to start with that. So before that, for actuals, we need to know about the reports. Today, this session is only about the reports. So to navigate to the reports directly, you can go to Management Department Plus and Management Department. There will be a dedicated area for reports. Or in some companies, you can find that in this plus sign also. They might have it as a report in this area itself. Or it should be in somewhere just like this in the tiles. I'm clear on the navigation. It should be either on the plus sign as a report, or it should be under Management Department or Management Workspace somewhere under the tiles. Let me click on it. This will give you the list of all the available reports. Accruals, Activities, Administrative. So these are categories. If you are confused which report to find under what category. So for accruals, we are going to see all the reports under the accruals. So it will be easy. Directly, we can click on accruals and see what are the reports we are going to run. So apart from that, other than that, we have a number of reports. These are like categorizing it. Like this is time correlated report. This is a scheduler related report. So if you are confused like which report would be under which and you don't know how to open which, you can go for all. All will contain list of all the reports. Whatever the reports are available within the Kronos in this particular system. These are mostly our inbuilt reports. There are also possibility of creating custom reports through other tools, but we have more than enough self-sufficient like inbuilt reports in Kronos. So now let me show you. Once you get time, go ahead and go through each of the reports. Right now, I'll take you through a few important reports, which you will be working across more frequently. The first one is employee transaction and total. So what this report does is, whatever the data the employee has in his time clock, this will pull it through as a report. If I go here, we have a number of employees here, right? So let me open a few of them's time clock. So these guys, like at least a few people, should have some punches. Since this is a test environment, mostly to be empty. Just looking to come back the data once we read the report. Okay, I'll choose the date from 1st of October to today's date. That is somewhere where the date should be. So for this same date range, I'll run the report and so that we can come back to the data. So what this report does is it will pull all the data, whichever is available at the time card, into an Excel format or PDF format. We'll go with the Excel format. What we need to choose is what are the employees we are going to extract. I'm choosing all home. That means all the employees available in the system. We can also filter it using our conditions available. As I told you, we have employee summary or other. We have a number of genies here. We can choose it. And we can just have few employees like only Australian employees. We have, like I told you, how to create this. Also, right, we can create a number of hyperfines based on our condition. So that condition also you can choose here if you need to. If you need only that employees, all the hyperfines will come here. You can choose that, Australian employees. That's why, right now, I'm going with all home. All home means all the employees available in the system. And time period I'm going to choose from 1st of October. Or even before that, I'll choose from September. So that's why we have at least some data. Since it's a test environment, we'll not be having input for just right. So let me run it from 1st of September to today's date. And the format, output format is that's it. Display empty totals? No. Do we want a like? Most of the time that's empty. So do we want that to come as a total? No, I just only want wherever there's a particular data or Punjab pay code, only that should be in my report. No empty values. Okay. So everything there is already selected. The pay code, it was already selected only. If you want to remove something, you can remove it. Okay. Well, if it is not selected in some areas, you can just pull it out here. That's it. Okay, sure. So, after choosing these values, you just need to click on Run Report. And once you give it, you need to click on Refresh Status to refresh it. It's update. After a few seconds, it will be completed. Hello, Srinivas. And we can export those reports. Yeah, we can directly download it from here itself once it is completed. Okay. This is taking some time because we are running for all the employees, right, and for a long date range. Let's wait. So 2 more minutes. If it is not completed, then we can again run it once more. Let it run in the meantime. We can see other reports also. We can check out other reports. So once it is running again, you can click on the select reports so that it will show us the available report. This is just a dashboard where we can see the status of the report, whichever we have run, whether it's completed or it's running or failing. Okay, now again I'll go back to the Select Reports tab, which is our home page. So we have seen employee transaction at total. The next report which you need to see is there'll be a bunch detailed report. This will be. I can directly close this and take you through time card. So if some employees have some exception in their time, card manager needs to see, that means he can use Genie. Or if he has more employees and he needs to see who are all the people who are having late ins or early outs or missed appointments or like long break, short break, these items. If you want to see it in an Excel document or a PDF document, you can directly run this particular report. Or he can go to exception summary. This will give him same thing, but in an Excel format. These are same reports. If you go to exception summary, you will have an additional format which is Excel. But right now we'll run it as a PDF because I don't think we have Excel in this system. Maybe because we don't have Excel. It might be the reason. Let me see. So I'll run this as a PDF itself, so that at least we get an idea. So let me run it as a PDF itself right now. So this report is like if a manager wants to see who are his employees having these late ins, early outs, missed appointments. And like for a full population, his full population. Right now I'm running it for all the people. For his full population means he can choose his population, what for our population needs to run, and whether it is only unexcused or you can choose both. And again, the date range is same. I'll run it for 1.5 months. Okay, this is completed. Our previous report is completed. Now, exception summary is running. So, once this is completed, what you can do is you can click on this. You can click on the report and click on View Report, or you can just double click on it. It will download. But right now, I don't think it will open. So I'll again run it as a PDF for you, okay? It will not open. We don't have anything to open it up. So let's first go through this report. I'll again trigger the employee transaction summary in PDF format. The report name is employee transaction in total. Same thing, same everything. This time I'll go with PDF, but this report is specified to run as Excel only. Because PDF will not get a clear clarity, Excel will have proper rows and columns attached to it. This inbuilt reports. We don't need anything. These are inbuilt, already done. So there's a separate tool to build custom report in that you need SQL. There's a tool called SSRS tool. Like integration, we have SSRS tool to build custom reports, to speak with the system and pull the data. So it will directly each of these details. Whatever we put in the punch, what punches we put, what time we put, what accrual balances, we have everything. As we see in the Kronos, it is also stored in database. Even these reports have direct queries which it will fetch directly. These are inbuilt reports. System rig. This will have the inbuilt SQL queries to pull it out. So if you want something customized, we need to build it through that particular tool. There is a tool called SSRs. In that tool, you need to connect the system and build your reports using SQL queries, which columns to come where, and how it should be formatted. That will be through SQL query. And also in the integration, whenever you build an integration to load and apply into the application, or to do some export, or to pull some data from a particular place in Kronos and load it in somewhere else. For all that, you might choose a source type SQL, or like some place it will be a FFAT file or CSV. But then you can also use the SQL as a source query from where you fetch the data, or you can use the output as the SQL to load it into some database in integrations. Example, I might have a punch import, like where I'll be importing the punches, which is the employee. Like some companies, like they might have 90% of employees in the Kronos, like full employees will be in Kronos, but 90% will be using Kronos clocks. But maybe for a 10% of people in a particular location, one facility is using some other device to cap swipe in and swipe out. From there, I need to do an import to load the punches into the system. In that case, I can have a punch import which will fetch the punches from that system and load it into this system as well as the DB. In those places, while when you are building integrations and custom reports, in that case, you will be needing SQL. Within system like SQL is not needed, but to work on integrations and reports, SQL is much needed. I mean, do you need to know like installation process? Do we need to know like an installation process? For which, let's say, if you get like a project while we're working, no, nothing to install, everything is cloud here. Yeah, but I'm saying to set it up like configuration from the beginning. No, that thing will be out. They will give you the details of server address, username, password, everything. You just need to type in that. Nothing to set up for Kronos. Okay. So our exception summary is completed. Let me open the PDF. So this will give you the ID who is in this particular report. And out of these employees, how many are having an excused absence within this date range? How many people have core violation? How many people have missed the punches? Missed out, unscheduled, late out, early out, long break. So these things will get. Excel would be more appropriate for this, which like we can get these in rows and columns, and this will come as a chart. So since we don't have Excel, I'm just giving it to you the overview how it will be in the PDF. First, it will give you how many people are picked up with the exception for these date range. And then it will give you the graph of what are the exceptions. Then again it will give you based on some like core violation. Whoever has violated the core violation means we saw in the pay policy, right? Who? The people should not be taking breaks during that time. Then it will give you this as does the table. What we saw in the chart, say again as a table. And then it will give you each person has how many exceptions onto that. Like a time cut for that particular date range. If you see Amanda has 20, Shamini has 1. This test user has sync. So this is just a report like this. We have a number of reports. And just like when you get a time, just go through and run one by one and see like what are the data it's pulling out. Choose all the employees and choose some date range for at least 2 months and then try to run it in the PDF. If you get a chance to get the Excel installed, then you might choose for certain reports Excel and run it on. So now let me show you the other report also, which is completed except in some like in transaction total. I'll just double click on it. So transaction total. Okay, sorry, I was choosing the wrong report. This is the first one which we run with this Excel. It will not open. I'll open the PDF one. Excel is actually the option for this, but since we don't have it, we are running it as a PDF. So first, will give you again who are the employees picked up in this particular report. Then it will give you on this particular date range. This employee has, or like each employee, they have how many hours. So within this time frame for this 1 month, this guy has worked 8 hours. This guy has worked 8 hours on this particular date under this pay code. This is more like a proper time, how the time code would be. We are getting it as an Excel. If you see here, this guy has worked. His employee is this on Thursday 9/1. He has worked under this pay code for 8 hours. Then this pay code. Again James Smith, which we tested. We have given a vacation 8 hours here and some bonus hours on 9/6. So on. This will give you the individual transaction per day for that particular time frame. For each of the employee whom we have selected. Under which pay code, how many hours, which day. Then we will get the totals also. For each pay code, how many hours totally the employee has worked. Right. So if you see James Smith, this is the guy we tested for some time. He has worked 57 hours of regular, 330 hours of 14.5 and another 4.5 for half an hour, then 4.2. So we'll get the full-time card data. Mostly, this is similar to the pay file which we'll be sending to the payroll team. So to have during the payrolls, if someone asks us to send the payroll, we can ask the payrolls to cross-check the data for a few employees. How many hours of regular and working and these setup people have? Can you check and compare with the pay file generator? We need to run this report from the Kronos. For that selected employees for that particular selected date range. And then we can cross up with the paycheck so that proper hours like. Example, if James Smith wins for this time range, he should be getting 50 set hours of regular process in his pay file. And another 8 hours of vacation and 8 hours of 42.2. These hours should be in his pay file. So if someone asks, like a few employees are getting errored out during the payroll, so can we cross-check whether that particular data is available in this pay file correctly? So during payroll, we can cross-check using this report. This is more or less like important report with the respective economist. Transaction and totals when it comes to payroll. And I'll show you a couple more reports specifically which is needed for accruals before we start accruals. You know, right? It's the leave balances whichever we have. So to track that, we can see how many balance exactly we have at a particular time in Kronos itself. but to see the historical data when we got our vacations or sick accruals credited, when we have used it in future, how many leaves we have already applied. These details will be all available under the accrual category. There is a report called accrual detail. Even other reports are all about accruals only, but this is a detail which will give you the proper insight. How much leaves we have, how much we have taken, everything. So usually when you run an accrual report, you need to run it from 1 month because mostly people will be getting their grants. Their accrual grants or vacation grants on Jan 1st. If you see, mostly in our companies also, it will be like we will be getting vacation front loaded on the 1st of Jan or maybe 1st of each month. So it's better to run a report from 1st of this 120th to 120th. I'll show you what are the details available in that. This has no other option. We just need to select the people whom we are going to run and the range of dates. That's it. And I'm going to run this again for all the people, or maybe I can choose a few. Let me choose here. Let me see Australian employees. Okay, they don't have a problem with it. Or let me run it for one guy. I'll just run it for one guy, or else it will be confusing for you. James Smith. Yeah, this is the guy with the step-by-step policies. I'll just choose this guy. So if you want to run it for a specific employee, you can directly go here and select it. But the easier way is just select the employee. Click on Go To. Select the employee. Click on Go To and Reports. Now what happens automatically in the people? It will show us previously selected employees. So the employees whoever we have selected, one day will be chosen for this report. So it's an easier way. We can choose one or two or one or three and then we can click on Go To and Reports. Now we have selected only James Smith. And for him I'm going to choose a range of dates. 2022. I'll do it to 11/20/23, yeah. And the format is that's it. Only this employee and range of dates is chosen. Format is already default PDF. So this report is for PDF only. You see here, this employee has sick as far as approval. So this employee is eligible for sick vacation. Okay, only two things. He is eligible for only sick and vacation. And you can see yearly he is getting 80 hours of sick leave. And vacation is like monthly is getting 24 hours. 24 hours means almost 3 days. So it depends. Some companies might give them like 5 different days like vacation, sick, floating holiday, and along with that there will be maybe like some other human leave. There will be maternity leave for like women employees. There will be COVID leave. So I'm just sticking with a simple prospect of how it will be. We have 2 items, sick vacation. Like this, we can have a number of items attached to that as per the company's requirement. And we can also have it granted at different basis. So you can see here sick is granted on a yearly basis as 80 hours. And you can see vacation is granted on a monthly basis as 3 days, like with just 24 hours. So if this employee took some right, so from his earned. There will be one more row with that date stamp, which days he had taken. Instead of it will come as taken and 8 hours will be minus. So if you say the employee has taken some leave on 15th of January, there will be one more row stating that 15th of Jan or 15 on 2022. And that will be taken minus 8. And this 24 will then reduce to 16. That means simultaneously, it will reflect in everything. 8 hours will be reduced. Okay. So we'll test it out when we are doing the actual policies, right? We are going to do that. I'm just giving you the overview. This is the report we'll be using throughout our approval modules. Whenever we are building a policy, this is how we will be testing it out, whether our approval is working properly. Okay? We are building a policy which states that it needs to provide 50 hours of floating holiday per year. How we need to test it after configuring is we need to assign it to an employee and run actual detailed report for it. Okay, this is how we test it out. So this report you can see here, right? There's a taken, for example. That's good. This is the same for all, even for whatever category. This is how it will be. Even, it will show you what the future dates. If we have applied, like mostly people in the US, they will be applying vacation on pre-year. Like most people, if they are going on December means they will apply it from before. On September, October itself, they will be applying it. So even that data, you can get it out so that they can know, okay, after when I completed this vacation, this is how much balance I will be having. Right. This is about, I'm hoping something like, it's totally like a leave management, leave. Yeah, leave is not good, okay? Since in Kronos we call it as accruals, and like the reason is, we are accruing it based on some condition. Like they differentiate leaves and accruals in the way that accruals is something we have. Like leaves is something we take on like. For them, leaves is like a long leave or something. When we go for inactive for 2-3 months, Kronos will call it as leave. Everything will be called as time offs. Just the paid time offs. So in Kronos time, offs is something without pay. This is like accruals means like PTOs, paid time offs. Okay, so now since we know the report, I'll just give a quick intro on the accruals. So reports, whatever you have. When you get your time, just go ahead and run each report for a group of employees. And let me know if you have any doubt on that. Like there'll be around 200 reports in this system itself. Just let me know. There'll be another report. If you want to just try it out, try this report. But I need Excel to go through this. So you can try this also. There'll be a person detailed report. Yeah. This will give you the full detail of what we saw. When we select a person and when we go to the people tab, right, he'll be having a number of details in there. So these details, Everything will come as report on this. Again, we need Excel for this. This is applicable only in Excel. I cannot show you here, but just ask them the Excel access. If they can give the installed Excel in our system, it will be great. We can go through this. This will give you like how the actual detail on the item. This will give you all the details of the people, details. Each these, all things will come as column name and with the employee number details and everything. We each row for one employee. It will give you the person details. Even if I run it, I cannot open it. There is no Excel. Just ask them for the Excel access. If they could provide to us, we can go through for a few more reports later. For Acros, we are fine. We can go ahead with whatever we have. So now Acros is a small module. There are a few items only, but each item we need to go through. These are more needed. Except this balance, cascade and balance group, which is something similar to the cascading policies and cascading programs. This, I will take it as last and I'll show you how these two are related. That's the reason I didn't give an overview when we took the policies. These are more like the same. I will go through after we configure. Let's say basic policy and attribute, test it and everything is fine. At last, we will see how this and this are interrelated and where we are using. Most companies doesn't use it, but certain companies which have some rules that they're like, even if the employee is not using a particular balance, they need to carry it forward. Something like that. In that case only, we'll be using balance teaching. So here also we need to follow the same thing bottom to upper approach. We need to have a date. We need to have a date pattern. And this is optional. Then we need to go to probation period again. That is optional. Then limits grant. Then accrual round rule is not used anywhere. It's just an optional one. Accrual policies and accrual programs. So here, everything except this accrual code is optional, but all the policies will have either one grant or limits. And also date and date patterns. Meant. Like we will create accrual codes and then from date patterns. In grants, we will create individually and all these items we will map it together in accrual policies. Then that accrual policy we will map it to accrual. This is what we will be assigning to employee in his people. Editor. There will be a separate column called accruals. Accrual profile. The topmost one is what we will be assigning here. Okay, so today I'll just take you through how we create the accrual codes and dates. Okay, let me show you. Take you through the accrual codes. Accrual code is nothing. It is similar to pay codes. What we create, okay. So it is similar to the pay codes, but the difference is we are using it for the like vacation and sick and other purposes. You can see here. From here itself, we will be able to understand what accrual code means. It's just similar to the pay code. We are just creating it with a type, whether it's in hours or days, how we create the pay codes, if you remember. We just need to choose a type, whether it's a day type pay code. If it is a day type pay code means how many hours per day or whether it's an hourly pay code. Okay, and what is the name for it and is there any short form for it? That's it. That's it what we will have here. So now let's create. I have two pay codes already created here. This is created from my end only. I'll show you how I'm doing it. First, let me click. I'll click on No. You just need to give, like what I have done here, A, B, C vacation. I am creating a pay code for vacation. And I can give an abbreviation for that, like vacation means VAC. We can understand this is a vacation. Whether this is an hourly pay, code, days or money similar to what we have in our pay policies. Mostly we'll go with hours pay code. Sometimes, if it is days means you need to define how many hours for that particular day. If they are putting more in the time, how many hours it should be there. So we'll stick with the standard on hours. And whether we can. Once the employee takes a leave, this particular pay code will be populated in our system. So whether the system will allow the employees to do some managers to do some manual readings. If you click on this, yes, it will allow. It's advisable to have it because a manager should be able to delete or edit it in some cases if needed. Okay, reporting period, nothing to change. It should be default reporting period. I'll tell you, when we test it out, what is the reporting period. I'll go through it, okay. So now, currently, we know we need to change it. This is how we create a pay code. Accrual code. So this is already created. I'll show you created. It will not allow override. These two pay codes we have created. You might have seen the report right. This is what we are getting it. ABC sick and ABC vacation. So same thing, just the hours. Type what type of accrual, what time it is default reporting period. Again vacation also same thing. So first step we have created vacation and sick. Any doubts in this? Creating accrual code. Okay, so that's the basic step. We are defining what type of leave it is that. Then the second step is dates, which will be already available in the system. If you want something specific, we can create. There are two different dates. One is site-wise dates, okay, which will differ from each company. Each company will have different. Site-wise date means a reference date Jan 1st. And we have a reference date so that if you want to do something on each new year, you can use this date. We can use this as a reference date and make the system do it every year. Or every month also we can use it. It will grant on each month. So it's just a reference date. First of the month. First of month. Also, they will be using something which starts at first of that particular month. And if you want to grant something on April 1st of each year or April 1st in once in 2 years, you can use that. Just a reference date. You can see the example in New Year or Christmas or year end, something like that. So these comes under site-wise dates. We choose a particular day in a year, like September 15th, August 15th, Jan 1st or December 25th. We can choose a particular date which will repeat yearly, so that we can use that particular date as a reference date and we can grant on future years. Or maybe twice or thrice in that particular year. Or you can use that to grant each month. Using that reference date. If you choose 15th April as a reference date and choose monthly, it will grant 15th on each month. So this is just a reference date. Just remember January 1st. We are going to grant something on New Year. So we are giving a reference date of 1/1/2020. Any confusions on this? What is the site-wise dates? So then again we have person-specific dates. So, Since this is a test run environment, they have created the n number of items. But usually we will be having 1, 2 or 3 person specific dates. Person specific dates means some companies will have a policy of granting based on their hire date. So even though, say example, I'm having a policy where I can grant approvals each year on New Year, but what happens? Say, some employees will be hired mostly on mid of the year. So for that first year from his hire date, he should be having some balances, right? We cannot choose a reference date for that. Whatever the date we choose, some employees will be hired in a different way. So for that we can have a reference date create. Mostly it will be accrual date of hire, something like this. And here we'll have a reference date of hire date. If I delete all these things only, the item which will be left over is hire date, which will fetch the value directly from the Employees, People tab and General Information. This hire date will flow and this will change like it is different for each employee. System will do it automatically. We just need to create a date which is naming accrual date of hire and you need to choose hire date in that. That's it. Clear on this? What is person specific dates? Yeah. So that is about the pay codes, accrual codes and the dates. And the last item for today. We will just go through the date patterns. So date pattern is nothing. We have a reference date here. It's like Gen 1. We'll create a pattern means like how frequent it should replicate. So we are going to give some balance to an employee. So whether it is yearly or monthly or 6 months, once or 15 days, once that we will define it here in date patterns. Maybe I'll show you. If I need to create a yearly, every new year I'm going to grant something to an employee. I'll give a name that. So to my understanding, every year Jan 1st. Or I'll just put it okay. How this day should be. It should be granting it on yearly basis. What I need to do is I need to choose first year. I need to pick my reference date as January 1st. Because we saw that it's pointing to Jan 1, which is New Year only. We have seen that. Now I need to choose the frequency. Whether it should repeat each day. Or whether it should repeat each week or month. Or based on pay period. We know paid period, right? 2 weeks, bi-weekly, or some people have a monthly. So whether it needs to repeat like pay period basis or yearly. If you want to go repeat it yearly, choose this. Nothing to choose on the other options. We like offset, everything will be none. Just you need to choose what frequency, what is the reference date and pattern. When the pattern should start. Start of reference date. It should exactly start on or off the reference date. The reference date is 1/1/2020. So the pattern will start on each year 1/1. If you choose like on or before means. Like it will choose maybe 1 or 2 days before. If it's coming, I'll explain you how this works. So let's start like first stick to the same thing. If you choose a particular reference date, in that date itself, it will start. On or before. Or on or after is like maybe if an employee is hired on Jan 2. If you choose this right on or after means it will help him to get that particular predictor also. For that purpose. So no need to confuse. Let's start with a simple policy. Which is we are having a Jan 1st and it will repeat yearly or monthly. Whatever you want to even choose and pattern started. It will start directly from the reference date. if you want to grant something like for the first year, I need to grant something on this data file because he will be hired on his data file. So I'll just give one-time DOH data file. On one-time data file, I'm going to grant him something. In that I need to choose the reference date as hire date. Hire date. And the frequency is it will give him only 1 year start of reference. That's it. Or each year on the data file if he needs to get. We can choose year as 1 and we can replicate it. Or each month. It needs to replicate means we can give months. It depends on us. So there are only two reference date. One will be the specific date like Jan 1, Jan 15, December 1st, something like that. Or hire date which we can iterate through days, weeks, months or years or even pay periods. Clear on this? First year which he joined, maybe based on the hire date, we'll be allocating some like accruals to him. And the next year he will be getting the full quota like from the first of them. Yeah, then how the system is going to be? Yeah, that will come under the limits and grants will go through. Okay? Yeah, this is just creating the here, will not restrict anything, will just say how to iterate. That's it. Whether it needs to stop on the first cycle or whether it needs to stop after 3 cycles or whether it needs to go on. We will determine that based on grants and limits. So next session, I'll come up with a proper policy. This will be easy to understand. I'll come up with maybe 6 vacation and some other holiday. We will create each of them. You are. We have already have sick and vacation created. We can use that. We'll create some policy based on the requirements. We'll start with, and finally do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.